Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund will go head-to-head, knowing they are top of the table in next week's Klassiker after respective victories today. Craig's still with us. Jan joins us as well. Jan, both of them resting their big strikers for this clash, both of them getting the job done.
Yeah, they did. Lewandowski was rested. Erling Haaland, he wanted to play, but had a small knock on his knee, so he didn't play that game. And you just have that feeling with Bayern, they just go to Cologne and they win easy, they win, take 3 points. But this time it wasn't that easy. Cologne at the end getting 1-2, and then they had a bit pressure at the end. Dortmund was very much better team than Bielefeld as expected. But, you know, when they don't have Erling Haaland or that kind of striker, and they don't even have a replacement, they just have one striker at the club, then Mats Hummels stood up. The centre-half scored 2 goals. I think it's the first time in like 11 years that he have a double pack, or a double, as we are saying, and they deservedly won 2-0. And it's great for all of us, because now when they meet in the big game, they will be equal and they will be at the top.
Craig, your takeaway from these matches?
Actually, Hansi Flick looked a bit perturbed in the touchline, particularly early on against Cologne, who, you know, you don't often say when Bayern scored the penalty that Müller dispatched, it was actually against the run of play, because Cologne they started the game really well and they ended the game pretty well. There was probably an hour in the middle, or 50 minutes squeezed in the middle, where Bayern were really comfortable at the 2-0. But the one constant, again, without Lewandowski, was Thomas Müller. You know, he just never changes, that guy. And, you know, he was arguably one of the better players again. But, yeah, they got a bit lucky with the handball, the Gnabry header, which wasn't really going anywhere. Don't think the defender knew much about it. Hits the arm. They get the penalty kick. And then there was the great breakaway on the counter-attack. The challenge from Kimmich was a super challenge. And then Serge Gnabry with a wonderful finish. So that was enough to get the job done. As Jan said, it would normally be a little bit easier for them. But I didn't think it was a great performance. And they will certainly have to play better next week against Dortmund if they want to get the victory. But they'll change the team up again. I mean, Hansi Flick's changed the team for all these big games this year, because they've been coming thick and fast with the Champions League. So he has made a lot of changes, and maybe that just affected him a little bit as well.
As you mentioned, it was Hummels in the end who made the breakthrough in the Dortmund game, Jan. What a strange goal. He had no idea about it seemed whatsoever. That's one of your classics.
Yeah, it was. It was a corner from Sancho, and Meunier, of all people, I mean, he made an assist. I mean, that is a terrible buy from Dortmund, Meunier. He can't cross the ball, can't do anything really. But they signed him from PSG when he did okay, but he's been terrible at Dortmund. He got a little flick on the header, and he headed so that Hummels could score that goal. And then the second goal was a great header from Mats Hummels. And unfortunately for Dortmund, with all their trouble with their centre halves, with Corona on their centre halves and injuries and so on, then he had to limp off. But the latest from Dortmund, the latest from Germany, is that he should be okay for the week coming up, with one great game against Bruges, it's a very vital game for them in Champions League, and of course their Klassiker against Dortmund. Against Bayern Munich next Saturday.
We'll be talking about.
Will he play? Just interested, Jan. Will he play a back four next week again? And how different will this Dortmund team look like next week? I mean, how many changes are you expecting? We saw young Jude Bellingham play today. We saw Rain on the bench. Witsel was on the bench. There was no Dahoud. We obviously no Erling Haaland up front because of the knock. Just how many changes, if most people are fit, do you think Favre's going to make for this big game next week?
Well, I think the challenge is with Dortmund, they got the players going forward. There are so many of them. They kind of have the same skill, the same type of player. So I'm not sure which one he will play. I spoke with Sebastian Kehl, who is the head of sport at the club, and he said when we get young players in, we just promise that they're going to play. So you kind of see, you know, Bellingham playing Rome against Lazio. That was not his best game, but that was his first Champions League game. Today, I think Bellingham was good. Reina starting on the bench. I can see Reina coming back for the big one against Bayern Munich. We have Erling Haaland back in again. I think it's all depend on the injuries back there, what kind of system he will play at the back. To be fair to them today, they'd never let Bielefeld have one chance at all. But, of course, against Bayern Munich, it will be different. And the problem is with Dortmund, if they're going to stand high on the pitch, they try some way have to cover that space behind Hummels. Yes, he scored 2 goals today, but I mean, sprinting, Craig, I think you would have a chance against him.
Well,
yeah, you and I could play against Bielefeld still.
Yeah.
You could put those strips on behind you, and we could give them a game. Listen, it's all very well you saying there, Sebastian Kehl, saying, "Oh, we just give youngsters a game." But listen, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Dortmund can't just be a feeder club for everybody else with these young players. You know, they've been in the hunt for the domestic title many times recently and fell away at the end. So there's got to be a balance between throwing young players in and listen, that's great. But getting the mix right and actually putting a proper challenge on Bayern, surely for Dortmund has to be the first and foremost important thing.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.